Hello guys, Tim the Spy here, and today I'll be modeling the front fenders of the BMW G20. On the last video, I made the hood of the BMW G20, but in this video, I'll be only modeling the front fenders. So let's get started. So first of all, selecting the loop edges of the original hood, which is the end vertices. Make sure you select the end too. You can select the loop edges by pressing Alt and click, and while pressing Shift you can select other loop edges. And once you've done that, I am going to duplicate it, Shift D, and G and X, which is G is to move and X is the direction you're moving. So once you've done that, I am going to extrude the vertices so that it fits the body line of the car. And I'll be basically moving all the vertices so that it fits the body line of the car. So let's get started. Alright, once you've done that, I'm going to select the front fender mesh, which is pressing L on the keyboard. When you press L on the keyboard, it will only select the front fender mesh. And I'll be separating this while pressing P and selection. And once you've done that, get out of the edit mode and select the front fender mesh, and going to the side view, I'll be moving the vertices so that it fits this line of the body. If it's too difficult to do the blueprint, make sure you hide the hood, which is H on the keyboard, and this will make the blueprint more visible. And once you've done that, I'm going to select all of them, which is A on the keyboard, Control E, and I will clear sharp, and Control E again, and I will edge bevel weight. Click edge bevel weight and press -1 on the keypad, which is cancelling all the edge bevel weight. After you've done that, I'll be going to the side view, and sometimes blueprints will not match. I don't recommend 100% rely on blueprints because blueprints sometimes can be not accurate. So what I would have is I would have a separate reference file or photo that will help me guide through the locating or shaping the body of the car so that I can model parts there where blueprints don't show. So you guys cannot see, but I have a photo of the BMW G20, a side profile on the side of my screen, and I'll be basically following that format as well. That photo will be linked in the description below. Alright, as you can see, we have a lot of vertices on the front of the mesh and the rear of the mesh. We don't really need to worry about the rear of the mesh because we will not be extruding these vertices down to the wheel well, but we will be worrying more about the front mesh. Since this wheel well is circular, it will require vertices with same amount of distance or similar amount of distance between each other. So what I would, if I extrude this vertices and move it down to shape it like a circular vertice, it's not gonna look great. Or sometimes it will look offset. So what I would need to do is that maybe try to get rid of this middle vertice right here. I can dissolve this vertice. It will look a bit, it will not really match with the hood, but this is the best option we got. So I will move these vertices like so. After you've done that, I am going to select these edges and I will be extruding it down. Going into the wireframe mode, and I will be matching up with the body line of the car. Fixing minor errors here and there. Alright, once you've done that, I'll be modeling this down around here and like so. Alright, when you go into the top view, you can clearly see the body line that we modeled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that body line, go into the top view, and I will move it right where I need. And the wheel well as well, I'm going to select this and move it right so that it fits the wheel well. So to flatten this up, one way is to use loop tools. If you don't have loop tools, go into preferences and add-on, and you will be able to find loop tools in here. When you enable this, you will be able to see loop tools when you right click on the viewport. There's an option called flatten. What this will do is it will flatten the vertices, but it will flatten out. It will flatten individually. So in order to flatten this, I am going to do is I'm going to use a scale tool, which is S and X 0. S is scale, X is the direction where you're scaling, and 0 is basically flattening it. So once you're done, I need to connect these two faces, which this face has one face, this face has two faces. So what I would need to do is I would have to loop cut this face so that I can fill out these vertices. Before I do that, I'm going to go to the front view, selecting the middle loop, and I'll be positioning this. So when you hide this mesh, you will see that this mesh is more like exponential curve. So what I would need to do is I would need to bring these vertices down, or you can do is you can scale it down . We'll move it down and it will look like an exponential curve. I'll be moving this vertices a bit left. Alright. Once you've done that, go into the front view and you will see that this requires a loop cut. So I will loop cut this, Ctrl R, and I will G twice and move it like that. I'm going to the top view to make sure that it aligns with the body line, so it doesn't. So I will move this back a little bit, which is GY. Getting used to the controls is really important because in order to become fast, I guess very efficient in Blender, memorizing each shortcut to each tool is a very important part. Since it doesn't match again, I'm going to do the same thing. Once you've done that, I'm going to turn off the subdivision surface so that I can see the mesh pretty well, and I will fill this like so. Alright, moving on to the next part, which is this loop edge. Since I don't know how far this loop edge goes, it will go all the way to the right because I'm looking at the reference photo right now, and it shows that in the middle of the M logo, if I sketch it right around here, that's where the maximum peak is, which is that line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down and at scale Z0 to flatten it, and I'm going to press G twice to make it even. Alright, once I'm done that, I'm going to the top view again and make sure that I move this perfectly. Alright, looks like so. Alright, So next thing what I would need to do is I would need to add another vertex here, and I would kind of fatten it a bit. Alright, so when you're modeling a circular object, you gotta be careful with the flow of the mesh. So what a flow is, I think flow is when you make a model with the right flow, you will get the right reflection from an HDRI or any light. And that's really important because when you're modeling cars and you don't have a really great topology, which is wireframe, your car won't look great because you don't have a great flow of the car. So in the side view, I will be extruding these vertices around the circle to measure how many vertices I will need. So when I do that, I'm going to delete it again, and I will match this with this vertice, and I will move this like so, and I'll be doing this as well. You will have a triangle here, but not to worry because you can look at this, making it into a square from last video. This as well. Once you've done that, I'll be selecting these edge loops. Since this top part is very sharp, I am going to make this flat again, 0, and I'll be doing that as well. Since this is very sharp, I will be making it a little bit thin. Like so. Once you've done that, I'll be holding these vertices down, scaling it S, and moving it to the right. We can barely see this, but I'll be moving this to the real one. Very close. Since I have a crease over here, I'll be matching this vertex with where the crease is directing. Alright, so once you've done that, I will be extruding this vertex and right, like so. Since when I'm looking at the reference photo, this part is a bit outward, so I'll be moving this a bit outward. When you're modeling cars, unless you're 3D scanning, a car, I say no car is very accurate to the real car because sometimes you're modeling based off of reference photos, sometimes you're modeling based off blueprints. So that's why your model cannot be very accurate unless you are 3D printing. Alright, once you've done that, I'm going to select these vertices, extruding it down, scaling it to fit the wheel well. I'll be filling this edge like that, and I'll be extruding, filling it actually, and as you can see it has a curve, so I'll be cutting this edge and bring it more inside. Since I look at this, I'll have to look up this as well and bring this edge into it. Looks good. So when I'm looking at the photo, it looks like this is a lot more inward at this as well, so I will be moving this inward a bit. So since if I feel this right now, this is not going to look great because it's all quads, it's not following the flow, right? So what I would do is I would delete these faces and I will extruding it down, moving this to the right, and extrude this again to fit the shape of this crease. Alright, once I've done that, I am going to extrude these vertices, making it a bit bigger and a bit flatter, and I'll be moving this inside. I'll move this left a bit. It's good. I'll look at this edge as well, because I will fill this in like so, and I will make this inward a bit. And after done that, I will moving this vertice to the left and filling it like so, and loop cutting middle, moving it down, and I will extrude these vertices. Alright, once you've done that, I'm going to look at this edge again, making it left, and I'll be filling up this vertice. Alright, like so. I'm going to slide this into the other vertice, and I'm going to look at this edge as well. I'm going to select all of them, press M for merge, and by distance. What we'll do is that will merge are the vertices that are lying onto each other. If you don't want that to happen, you can basically turn auto merge on the top right of the corner, which helps a lot. I'm going to fill this edge, fill this one as well. To fill this one, make the two triangles into a quad, and I will bring this vertice out, and I will fill this as well. Alright, so I will select these three vertices, and I will bring this down, and I will scale it down and move it to the left. Alright, once I've done that, I'm going to slide this vertice up like so, and I'll fill this vertices. I will select these vertices, and I will extrude it downward. Press S and X, SZ, and 0. And I will rotate this. And I will accept this vertice. I will move it inside. I move this a little bit out. This one as well to make it smoother. And side view, for making the wheel well, I'm going to alt select these edges, and I'm going to extrude it. Alright, so I see that there are a lot of vertices on the front than on the rear, so I will select these vertices and bevel it once, which is B, Control B on your keyboard, and I will be cleaning up the rest of the vertices to fit the wheel well. Right. I will select these vertices, and I will Control E and edge bevel weight. What I will do is I will also select this vertice, and I will only select space with these lines. I will smooth this out, and I will clean up the vertices. I will select all of the meshes, faces, and I will Alt N and recalculate to outside. That will fix some of the shading errors. I will loop cut this middle so that I can make this look very smooth. I will select this loop, press scale to 0, SS, Z and 0, and SZ 0 as well, and SX 0 for this one to SX 0. Bring this a little bit inwards. I will select this loop, and I will edge bevel weight. So back to the crease, I will select this part as well, and I will edge bevel weight, as well as these part as well, and these part as well. After you've done that, since you have subsurf on, so mesh will look very beveled. So what I will do is I will select the outside vertices, edge bevel 8, and I will select these loop and moving it down and left. I'll do the same thing for the other edges too. When I select this, I will also select this, which this will not look great. So that what I would do is I would move it to the right and the behind view, move this down. So same thing for this vertice, and I will fill this in. Select the edge and edge will weight that too. It's good. I will select this edge and to this edge, and on the front view I will move it to the left, go into the vertice mode, and I will deselect this vertice and I will move it to the down. And I will move this like so, fill this. I'll make sure that I move this a little bit up so that it matches with the hood. I've done so, I will select this edge and edge with the weight. Top view, as you can see, this vertice is a little far back, so I'm going to bring this forward a bit, as well as this vertice. Let's move away this too. Alright, after you've done that, I will select this edge, go into right hand mode, I will select this edge, and I will move this a little bit to the left, filling up that edge. After I've done that, I will weight this too. Same thing for this one too. Selecting this edge, that edge. That looks good. And I will select one at bevel weight and press Shift G, bevel, and I will sharpen. When I'm done, I will combine these two meshes. That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video is going to be a little bit long because this requires a little complicated skills, but I hope you guys see back in the next video. See you soon.